Hello, welcome to the Black Hearted Oracle. Before we get started, I'd like to pay homage and reverence to Mother Sustainer, Father Creator, and of course my beautiful ancestors. Now, this is a collective read for all who stumble across this video, and I was guided to do this video. I was trying to do the Cancer Eclipse video, but my cards didn't come in time, so these are my new decks. The reading is called Hindsight 2020, Understanding the Lessons of 2019. Okay, so let's jump right in. This is for all signs. For anyone who comes across this video, take what you can from it. The first message comes from the Power deck. I love this. And it's 15, Transformation. It says, the power of your intent leads you around the sacred wheel of endeavor. Begin today with trust and innocence in the early hours. Imagine a quiet pond and see the reflection of your true self. At noon, take a moment to close your eyes and dream. Imagine the transformation that this day offers you. Through your ability to love, seek the strength and wisdom to bring this transformation into action, into the words you speak. At night, give thanks for the illumination you have found. Know that the form of your intent leads you to the power of transformation. And with the Luminon deck, we have the Compass, right? So through transformation, you will be guided. This is the Healer of the Ages. And with that, you have the Sun. So it's telling you that right now you have the transformation that is being presented to us. The transformation that was presented to us during the 2019 cycle. It was meant to heal us. It was meant to go deep within our core. And right now we have the Healer of the Ages available to us, which is nothing but this happiness, because the Sun is always the happiest card in the deck. It speaks of joy. It speaks of love. And you can see that he's bursting with the radiant Sun energies. So we are bursting with the radiant Sun energies if we have learned the lessons and gone through the transformation. Right? Because now we have access to the door of spirit. And what this card speaks of is the wealth, the abundance. And I'm not talking just material like cash. I'm actually speaking of the abundance to create. You know, and what we have is the tree, which is grounding. You know, this is here for the long haul. So the transformation that we're going through, that the Healer of the Ages is bringing us to a place of joy and fulfillment when we've been through this transformation and the healing. It's also giving us a way to the door of spirit. It is pointing its direction to the door of spirit. And we're going to be here in this place well grounded for probably the next 7-10 years, right? And you have full moon in Taurus. Your dreams need a practical plan. And we had this Choices card and the Flowers card. So it's saying that regardless of the lessons of going through this transformation, going through the healing, being awoken to the calls of spirit, will lead you to chasing your dreams or pursuing your dreams. But it needs to be practical, right? The choices that are here can lead to many different doorways, but you have the promise of your health. You have the promise of good things coming. This is your assured happiness. You know, like when you get a card that says like, get well soon, or, you know, it's about accepting the right choices for us. And that's what 2019 was trying to teach us. The second lesson, it's flow. Let me try to put up the cards. Flow. It says the flower of your being brings to bloom, begins to bloom. Sorry, put it off here. Sloppy. Sorry. Okay. Flow. The flower of your being begins to bloom when you move with the flow of life. This is a process of letting go, moving your consciousness out of your mind and into your mind body, a shaman center, which is an inch or two below your navel. Feel your receptivity as you become still. Watch the waterfall flow as if you were the mountain high above it. Be serene, at ease, and totally within your power. Then let the waterfall of life work for you, becoming like a twig carried on its rushing surface. Become one with the water, dissolving the sense of your mind, and you're living totally in the instinctual nature. Let go and relax into the eternal flow. And with that, we have the luck card, the clover card. So it's saying if you can get into the rhythm of life, that's where you're going to find your abundance and your success. And that's what this is telling. That's what the lessons from 2019 was telling us, to be prepared, you know, to hop in the stream of life and not fight the ebbs and flows of nature. Now we have the Magician and the Mirror. And this card speaks about knowing that you have the ability to create all, right? So in 2019, we were out of the flow of life. And we weren't able to see that we were the creators of our life. But we have the lilies here. And, you know, the lilies represent purity. It represents ecstasy. It represents peace. So it's telling you that within you falling into the flow of life and regaining your luck, and mastering the fact that you're now the creator of your life, that's where you're going to get the peace. Because in 2019, we weren't there. We were stuck with a lot of indecision. But as you can see, the indecision card is in reverse, right? So, and we received the Tower, the Bird, and the Heart card, right? So we were very indecisive about being in some form of institution, making a choice, you know, whether this is school, whether this is business, whether this is love, committed relationship, whatever it was. There was, you know, we were receiving messages of love, but remember that we had choices and it caused indecisions. But what we've learned through getting into the flow of life is to not be indecisive. Emotions are running high, the supermoon, and you have the cranes, right? And emotions are running high now because you're seeing that the sun is rising. You know, spring is here. This is a routine couple who comes back to their nest. So emotions are running high because you would like to get back to who you are, to be building. You know, these are very reliable energies. And with that, the focus is on building. The end of a tough cycle approaches, full moon in Capricorn. Yeah, and we received the Owl. So within the end of this tough cycle of being out of the flow of life, not realizing that we're the magician, being very indecisive, that cycle is coming to a close because we're gaining the wisdom of this, right? And this also is a 3, which is the new beginning. Lesson 3, aspiration, enduring. Oh, sorry. Let's do that first, so you guys can actually see the depictions on the card because they're very striking. Okay. This one is aspiration, number 33. It says aspiration stimulates power. It is your aim spiritually and physically in the world, and it involves the totality of your being. Without the balance between the physical and the spiritual, aspiration is a hollow accomplishment. It is like a spirit lodge that can hold space for your ceremonies and rituals. The spirit lodge must first have a strong foundation of capability, trust of those around you, and responsibility. Aspiration is what builds the spirit lodge of power. It is the quiet architect of your accomplishments, and it sits at the feet of power. Just as the deer stands before the remnants of an ancient and powerful civilization come and gone, keep your heart open, kind and loving, so that the energy of the universe can flow freely through you. It is difficult to aspire without judgment, but judgment limits you, putting a fence around your consciousness. Give much consideration to all your choices in life and a free flow to your process of aspiration. So just as the last lesson was speaking about being in the flow of spirit, yeah, you're going to have to be childlike. You're going to have to want the new. That's what this lesson was teaching us, is how to aspire for the new. Not to stay stuck in old patterns that were not benefiting us. And not to get caught up in just the naivete of thinking that all work and no play. Like, you have to have a balance. Okay, enduring. Number 29, it says, take a stone in your hand and meditate on it, or use the stone surface pictured on the card. Go into the stone, experience her quiet soul. The stone welcomes your visit. Let her experience the inside of your heart as well. See how you are each an enduring mirror of each other. How you are everywhere, mirroring everything. The stone absorbs you, and you absorb the stone. How can you be alone if you are part of everything? You are the totality of enduring existence. Therefore, nothing in existence can upset you. Right? And with that, we have the anchor. So this lesson was meant to teach you how to be anchored within your soul and aspiration. And look through life as a child, through the eyes of a child, with all the wonderment, with all the imagination and the exploration, right? Then we have contract, and we have the mice. So this is telling you of like something that is binding, like a legal, well, it doesn't necessarily have to be like judicial, like fully legal, but it can be, but there's going to come an end of that, right? Because there's nothing that mice can get in that can stay healthy. So whatever was anchoring you, it was telling you that you should be careful of what you're tethering yourself to, right? And we have adjacent possibilities. Yeah, you see that? Adjacent possibilities. There's so many other options, but you had to learn to be mindful, to not use this childlike naivete and get bounded in these contracts that weren't for your best, that were like mice eating away at your stores, and reaching for these golden apples. There was snakes hidden in these doors, even though there was many adjacent possibilities. But what it was telling you now is that being that you've had the mice and the snakes, it's time to think about moving into different options, because as one door closes, another one opens. And it says nothing will come of this situation, void of course moon. Yeah, we've learned that the only way to have an enduring aspiration is to not waste our time in situations with deceptive people who are only here to be mice in our life, eating away of the value and the goods that we have stored up for ourselves. We have okay. Next, we have destiny. It says your act of power is the key to your destiny. Like a sacred flute player enticing your truth of spirit out into the light of day. Own your power because you are made of power. An act of power comes from a place of passion within your deepest being. It is an expression of your totality, of who you are in the world. To find your act of power is to live your dreams. What would you do if you could do anything? Discover what it is and then do it. To find your power is to find your destiny. Exactly. We have bridge and we have ship. So, I mean, just with the numbers 38 and 39, it just makes me feel like you're just one step of crossing the bridge to getting on the ship to your destiny. You know, to start the voyage. And the lesson here was to know how powerful you truly were and to walk away from the things that were no longer serving you. The next one is feminine, and it's number 13, and it says the world is bereft of feminine consciousness. To bring Mother Earth back into balance, we must bring back our awareness of her. Language is a barrier between us, but woman has always communed with the woman in an unspoken language. Her roots are entwined with the essence of Mother Earth, for she, too, is feminine. Woman is the keeper of the planet and must not let her energy be uprooted by the male systems within a man or woman. We are all in need of world harmony. Mother Earth has been misunderstood, but she is a universal link. She is the womb for all that lives. Sorry. Feminine consciousness is the energy that embodies the wisdom you need at this moment. And what do we receive? The lady. Yeah. So the feminine energies are going to have to bear themselves naked to the world. There's no more hiding in shadows. And this is what the lessons were telling us, is that no longer are the feminine women supposed to hide their power. You know, it's time of reclamation. Because it's the destiny. Yeah, angel of love. And then you have the messenger, the rider, and the book. So within that lesson is that we were taught from 2019 and hindsight 2020 is self-love. You know, all the lessons were geared towards everyone focusing on self-love and gaining the wisdom of that and keeping it holy and secret for themselves, not depleting themselves of this self-love, but nurturing and being abundant with it so that it overflows. Surrender to the divine, the full moon, and its sickle, because the full moon speaks about completion, right? So this was about cutting out anything that made no sense. You know, anything that caused a problem in our lives, we were to cut it out. And in doing so, we would be surrendering to the divine and gaining our destiny. The balsamic moon, a time for healing. Yeah, and that's what this lesson had taught us, is to how to be loyal to ourselves, how to be loyal to our self-love, and cut out whatever in our lives was not serving us and was blocking us from being able to start the voyage of our destiny. And to do the healing. So we were broken to be remade and be laid bare to the world, the feminine energies. It's time. The next lesson Which one is this? Lesson number 5. This one is a big one. Okay. Lesson 5. Trying to get all these cards in here. It's a big one. Okay, lesson 5. 32, wisdom. And it says, if you are addicted to the process of becoming, there are storms on your horizon. If suddenly there is nothing left to become, you are filled with terror. Suddenly you are face to face with your own empty being. Find the sacred space, a sanctuary of pleasant stillness in your heart. To know that you are truly alone is the first step on a long journey of self-discovery. On the path to power, the final step is to learn that you are already linked with the universe, that you are already part of everything, and you already live in the lodges of the universe. This is wisdom. Right? And the cards with that was the cross and the coffin. Right? And what I like about the cross and the coffin coming up with the wisdom card, right, is the fact that, okay, Solomon in the book that everyone loves speaks about as you increase knowledge, so does your sorrow increase, right? I'm paraphrasing, of course. But one thing with the coffin is Anubis, he holds the Ankh of life, right? And there's scarab beetles around the coffin. And scarab beetles speak of transformation. So within the wisdom that these lessons that we've, hindsight 2020, understanding the lessons of 2019 have taught, is the fact that we had to put a death through it. We went through so much burdens because this cross is representing the burdens, you know, the struggle, the sacrifices that had to be made in order to achieve this wisdom. And though we were going through it and it was painful and it was horrible and it was felt like the worst thing ever, hindsight 2020, with understanding the lessons, it's a setup to run to the path that is calling for us. Because you got to remember that the first one was transformation, right? The world is here. And the home. Yeah, because you're looking for the possibilities of the expansion of the world, of your world. Because not only is the world here, there are there's lotus floating in the pond. Right? So the lotus also represents coming from, like, the very thing, the dirt, the muck, the darkness is what builds and transforms and allows that inner beauty to shine unscathed, undamaged, beautiful, pristine, right? And you have man holding a heart and the wishing well. So with this, I see a lot of difference things with the man holding the heart. Like, if this is dealing with the male energies or the masculine gender, I should say, because it's a general reading, what it's saying is he has come now to a point where he understands. He's taken a deep look in this well. And he has reclaimed his heart. And he is patiently waiting. Because he's made the wishes and he knows. And the world is changing and it's a new cycle beginning. Because from death becomes rebirth. And one of advancement, one of stability. One of a self-love. And not just a wish. Because again, the thinking woman is here. This is also referring to wisdom. 20. I'm not sure what this card is. I gotta look it up. Sorry. I just got these decks yesterday. But all I know is the lilies are my favorite flower. Sorry, let me hurry up. 20 part. Okay, so yeah. So this one is about like events. It's about business meetings and just anything that has to do with the public, outings or whatever. So now you are more mindful of how you use your time, right? Because you have a white peacock here, which is a very rare bird. There's doves here symbolizing peace and abundance with the white peacock. So it's telling you that before you are going to waste your abundance and your peace, you're going to make better choices for yourself. We have working through your fears, Scorpio new moon, and the mountain. Exactly. You're going to exactly be thinking of how you can get around these obstacles. And you're going to face your fears stead on because it's a new cycle of stability. It's 2020. Okay, new moon in Gemini, communication is key. And this is the bear, so this is like the mother, you know what I mean? Like the mothering energies. So this is telling you, say, when you're communicating, come from a place of nurturing, come from a place of understanding, come from a place of love. And this is, the wisdom that we've gained is that we don't have to be all rah-rah to get where we want to go, because with the wisdom that we've gained, we've put a death to everything that is unhealthy. I love these cards. The depiction of the art is so beautiful. Wow. Okay. Commitment, number 3. It says you need commitment to focus on your target. Take aim, pull back the bow, and then shoot your arrow, even though you know you will hit the bull's eye with every shot. This is the duality of enlightenment. To hit the bull's eye requires total commitment to your spiritual and physical being, but it also requires total commitment to letting go, to simply walking down the path and through the gateway that leads to your true destiny. It is the process of gathering. You gather your emotions, your mental strength, and your abilities as you would gather sheep. It can be a long process, but your commitment gives you endurance. In the next step after defining your act of power, materialize your dreams and begin to live them. Build that magnificent dream lodge within you and do so with total commitment. Okay. Yeah. So this comes with letters, right? So, but this is also something that you're gambling with. So it's like we had to be absolutely committed and learn not to gamble away the things that were most precious to us. Right? So we had to make sure that we stayed committed to ourselves, committed to walking the path, to finding the balance. Because this is like a letter, this is so to me, this is like your personal motto. What is your personal motto that you have chosen? And are you willing to gamble with the commitment of you walking your path? Of you gathering back up your strength, of you putting on those boots and really trotting your path. Are you committed? Gathering. Jesus, I'm sorry. Gathering. It said 26. It says, this life is like a fulcrum on a scale of balance. Your past, the future lives determine the need for gathering strength in this life. There is a reason for all this pain. As you gather knowledge from the infinite sea of consciousness of life experience, you begin to evolve. You fill the ground of your spirit with knowledge so that one day it can be emptied and you may begin to gather wisdom. Become one with all life and consider the true importance of what you are gathering. Right? Is that water that you're gathering nourishing your soul? Or is it poisoning it? Yeah. Because there was a lot of confusion. This is the clouds and this is the fox. But the fox is sly and sneaky. So what karma were you gathering by gambling your commitment to yourself and your path? Attachments. Yeah. Were you attached to living a lie? Because this is the mask, and this woman is bound, and she has a mask in her hand that she has to put on to play. You know, so what commitments were you making to yourself? Were you willing to stay in a state of confusion, of having to play the underhand in order to gamble away at your committed path? Because you were stuck in a labyrinth of strategy, of always wanting a new beginning but couldn't figure out how to get there because you weren't listening to spirit? Balance spirituality and practicality. Now, come on now. Like these readings, I love this. Right? And this is the star. This is the healing. This is, this lesson was meant to teach you how to be committed to your journey, committed to your healing, committed to you, and to not cheat yourself by wearing masks that do not benefit you and staying attached to things that were draining you. Remember, you have to think about what you're gathering. Is the water nourishing or poisoning you? And lastly, lastly, we have 41, vision. It says, at times you will have less vision and because of that, dimness, and you will become unbalanced in your seeing. You will see everything, every stone, every machine, every tree, as being dead rather than alive. As your vision grows, sit still within the city. Begin to see that the stones and the plants